Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of Building a Publishing Business, where I am every week reporting to you about the progress that I've made in building my own publishing business for my own work and getting that all set up and seeing how it's going. Some interesting things happened this week. Also some rather disappointing stats, but they've caused me, any kind of setback that you have is a good thing because it shows you what doesn't work, which means you can pivot with data and knowing where, what to try next. So I have some great things that have happened and I have some other not so great things that have happened. And I'm making a few pivots, a few big pivots here in the next few weeks that are going to change everything. So stay tuned for that. And let's start by showing you the spreadsheet with all my stats for this week. All right. So this is the week of October 26th. So as you're watching this, it will have been about a week since this week ended. And 0 books published this week. I am collecting a bunch of books. I have some books from ghostwriters and I'm getting ready to start publishing things. And once I do, they'll be published rapidly, especially if you count the public domain books that I'm working on. Those I could put out like several a week, probably. But for now, 0 books published. Ad spend was only $1.26. That's because it was off for most of the week. I turned it on right at the end of Saturday because I was doing something. But overall, basically no ad spend. Contractor expenses were about $1,600. So a lot less than the previous version. Most of this was in editing costs for her YouTube channel. And I did have a little ghostwriting milestone that I paid for there. But it's not as big as the week before. But this is probably more typical of what it will be in the future, I would say, on average. So that's what we're looking at in terms of expenses. All right, so I have 2 YouTube channels I've been working on. The first one focuses on fantasy lore because I write fantasy, so I'm trying to create a channel all about fantasy lore to hopefully draw in people that would like the kind of stuff I write. You can see the previous week, I got 104 subscribers, and now the week after, I got this last week, I got 205. So pretty much double what I got the previous week, which is awesome. And even more than that, I got more than triple the number of views. And this channel is already turning out very well. And I can say, since I'm recording this on a Thursday, these numbers have skyrocketed even since I recorded it for last week. So this channel is looking very good. Now, it's not monetized yet, but at the rate it's going, I'll be monetized within a week. And so we'll start to see revenue coming in here. Now, the mythology channel, which is almost the exact same type of channel as the lore videos, except it's focused on mythology rather than fantasy lore, is showing a different picture. For that one, the new subs are 23, so it actually went down, and the number of views also went down, and obviously not monetized yet, so 0 revenue. So I actually decided to make the executive decision to not work on this channel anymore. The reason I did 2 channels in the first place is because I wasn't sure which one was going to do better. So rather than just do one and hope for the best, I decided to do both and then see which one was doing better and then kind of put more effort into that one. And that's what I'm doing. So this one, the fantasy lore one, is doing better. So I'm going to put all my effort into that one in the future, and I can hopefully save a little money in editing costs and get a little bit more higher quality on those videos and expand it even further. All right, the amount I got from Amazon and other retailers was only $10, which is kind of sad. I'll admit that. But that's just what it was last week. Direct sales is 0. However, I will have some direct sales this coming week to put in this stat. But that's obviously I'm not doing the report on this week because it's not over yet. The school payout. So this is from remember, I'm trying to build a school group that pays me money. Was just over $50, so a little bit better than last week. But the school monthly recurring revenue is still $175 a month. So it has not grown. That's one of those stats that I'm not too happy about. I was hoping with all of this effort and all of those paid new subscribers and everything that I would have seen more growth on the school group by now. And so this is exactly one of those moments where I'm finding out what isn't working and what is. And part of it, I think, is the fact that I'm trying to get people to take a chance on me and join this membership that has all of my books when they don't even know if they like one of my books yet. And so part of what I'm pivoting to, there's a number of different things. The first thing is that I am no longer in the YouTube channel. I'm no longer trying to promote the paid version of that group. I now have a free version of that group where you get several of my novellas and short stories for free. And now people can join the group for free and then upgrade if they want to. So that's one of the pivots that I'm doing. Already, I've seen that starting to work. I haven't changed much about it yet. In the YouTube videos that I have filmed where I make the change in that pitch have not gone out yet. But already I'm seeing people come from the YouTube channel. I've had probably 20 or 30 so far that have come and have opted into the free stuff. And now those people are on my email list. And when I come out with a new book, I can release it to them, sell it to them, and see what, if they like it. Plus they're part of the school group now, so we can interact with each other. We can, I can pitch my books in there. It's a great way to have something that I own, essentially, where people can come and interact, and I'm not 100% beholden to Amazon and other retailers. That said, the next biggest pivot that I'm doing here. Oh, and by the way, my total revenue, which is income minus expenses, was like $1,500, or negative $1,500. So, still very much in the red there, but that's going to change. One of the biggest pivots that I am doing, and I spent a lot of time thinking through this, and I talked to my community about it to see what they wanted. And what I eventually came down to is that I realized I was giving myself advice, or I was not taking advice that I give to other people. And often I will tell people that you shouldn't try to break the rules before you've mastered them. And I use this like with my plot module book. Like, you should learn the rules of story structure and get really good about writing books that adhere to that story structure before you start thinking about breaking the rules. It's absolutely fine to break the rules. But if you do it without knowing what the rules are and mastering those rules, you're probably just going to create something that nobody wants to read, And I realized I was making that same mistake here. So while I teach people how to write books with AI, and I have a solid understanding of self-publishing because of my time at Kindlepreneur and the self-publishing work that I've done so far, I do not make a livable income from my books on Amazon. And so I thought, I should really do that. I should really get to that point. And so I've made the decision that rather than trying to do all these direct sales things and trying to get people into the school group, which is a brand new idea, I need to start by just building an audience the traditional way, going on Amazon, going exclusive to Amazon, because that's the easiest way to do it, building my email list, building an audience, and waiting until I get to that point where if I publish a new book and I send out an email to my group about it, that I immediately get hundreds of sales. Once I'm at that point, then maybe I can start to think of less conventional ways to market my books. So a lot of this is going to change. First of all, we're not going to be doing, I'm no longer pushing the school group as a way to make money. There will be a tier that people can get inside of my school group where you can get some pretty interesting bonuses from me, like having your name in a book or something like that. But that will be kind of like a back end thing that I'm not pitching to everybody. It's just sort of like hey, if you want this, it's here. Instead, I'm going to be going a lot harder on Amazon and learning to master the craft of selling a book on Amazon. And in the process, I'm sure I'm going to learn a whole lot about what people want. What do people like in their fantasy fiction? And just learning all of these lessons, plus also learning the ins and outs of Amazon ads, Facebook ads, all of the different marketing avenues that I could go down. And I'll be able to explore all of those things and come up with what works and then share it with all of you guys. So that is my thoughts there. And a lot is going to be changing about my approach to this because of that. It'll probably be a couple of weeks before we start to see any interesting headway into this. So the next couple of updates here might not be that crazy. But that's just where I'm at. So the second part of this video is where I go through last week's video and answer any questions that you have and talk about that. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right. Question here from Elena. Do you sell your books on Amazon? Yes, I do. And like I just said, I'm going to go very hard on that. Great question here. What are the first 3 steps we need to take to follow in your footsteps to build a successful publishing business? First of all, I don't know entirely yet because I have not built a successful publishing business yet. But I will say a couple of things. First of all, don't see failures as a failure. Failure is just information about what not to do. And you will absolutely succeed if you keep at it long enough. And if you keep looking at failure as feedback. That's my whole approach here, is that I'm looking at every failure as feedback and as examples of what not to do. So that's number 1. Number 2 is just to write. Most people start thinking about marketing and how to market books and like, oh, should I do Kickstarter? Should I do TikTok? And most people are thinking about doing that before they should. They're analyzing problems that they don't have yet, because firstly, you need to get your books out. So the only 2 things that I would say you need to work on in the early days is just writing, putting your books out there, getting a lot of them out there. And then the other thing that I would kind of keep in the back of your mind as you were doing that writing is branding, making sure you're doing the due justice to the genre that you're writing in. So people that enjoy that genre will like your books. Making sure that your book covers are appealing to the correct reader. Same with your book descriptions and your titles. All of that needs to be consistent. That's the only kind of marketing per se that I would even worry about in the beginning, is your branding. I wouldn't even worry about any other type of marketing until you have like 12 books or more out. Ideally more like 20, right? Then once you have that level of backlog, you can start to play with things and get actual results from it. All right, here's a question. There was another aspect to consider as well. You were wanting to charge $9 per month, giving access to your backlog of 30 books. But for $3 more per month, people can subscribe to KU with access to over 5 million titles from various authors. The value proposition, if they aren't fans of you and your writing, will be will present a significant challenge, but I hope you are successful with this endeavor. Yeah, I appreciate that. And this is something I've given a lot of thought. The reason why I thought it would work, and clearly it's not working great, so take this with a grain of salt. The reason it's not working great is because I think I haven't built up an audience yet. I think this is something for down the line once you have an audience. This person's right in that if it's just getting more books for a monthly price, that is not enough. But thankfully, as a individual creator, as a single person business, I can do things that Amazon cannot. And this is something that like Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot. A lot of people talk about this, is that if you're trying to do something where you're competing with really big people, you need to scale the unscalable. Do the things that the big companies can't do. So for me, my initial attempts at this is like putting their name in a book or in the acknowledgments of a book, or giving them hardcovers, or what's another one? I like calls with me, so I almost look at the books that I put out not as a part of the membership, but more like a bonus on top of the membership. Like the membership is this. It's the interaction with the fantasy community. It's the close access to me. It's all of these other bonuses that Amazon can't give you in KU. And then you also happen to get my books on top of all that, right? That was kind of the mindset I was going for. And I think that still works. It's just like trying to cold pitch somebody on that is really hard. You need to have an audience who already likes you a little bit. So that's why I'm making the pivots that I'm doing. How about offering a teaser chapter for free and add book descriptions and other promos via PDF? Yeah, I am doing that. So that's not really an issue. So a couple of questions here from Podcast Bard. Great name. As a reader, I like physical media best, books and MP3 CDs. Whoa, MP3 CDs. Okay, Podcast Bard, I'll take your word for it, but I can't understand why anybody would want that these days. I'll try things in the digital format to see if I like it. And if I do, I'll get the physical media. Physical media is also good in sharing books. I believe this is how people expand their audiences, is sharing physical media. Physical media is definitely a still going strong side of things. But I do know that most self-publishing authors make their money from ebooks and audiobooks. Like it's not even close. But print books are great. And he asks again, or he or she, your competition is all those other author YouTube videos. Do you advertise in your home community or your state? No, not currently. And YouTube is great at finding people that like what you put out if you're niched down enough. As you can see, my YouTube channel is doing very well. In fact, it's going to be monetized faster than the Nerdy Novelist was, than this channel. So that's pretty exciting. Like it's been really validating for me to know I can repeat the success I've had on YouTube, because I've always wondered if I only found success on the Nerdy Novelist because I started talking about AI at the exact right moment. Now, don't get me wrong, learning to identify the opportunities like that is also a skill. But it's always been interesting to like, oh, can I replicate this success? Can I get another channel doing well? And already it's looking like that is to be the case. I'm going to have a channel monetized way faster than the Nerdy Novelist was monetized. And I'll probably get to 10K subscribers much faster than the Nerdy Novelist did, which was like 5 months. So that's pretty cool. As far as advertising in the home community in my state, I don't think that's really the most effective way to advertise books. A lot of people do find success selling at like local markets and Comic Cons and things like that. I don't particularly like doing that, but I probably will experiment with it in the future. We have this like regular farmers market every Saturday near where I live, and we like going all the time. And I see authors there. Most of the authors, not to hopefully none of those authors are watching this right now, but most of them are not like, they're not great with their branding. Their book covers don't look great, but they still do pretty well. And so I think there is opportunity there. Is it enough to really compete with the sort of scale that one can do on Amazon or just any kind of digital site? I don't know, but it can still be fun. You can also learn a lot about what sells a book too, when you're doing it in person. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. All right. So this person says, interesting vid. It sounds like you don't know what does and doesn't get conversion to your paid school group. What about a survey? You have a lot of people in Story Hacker Silver and repeat viewers here, and we know what is stopping us from subscribing, presumably, so a survey might get you to some useful data. Just a thought. Yeah, definitely when you have an audience, and this is the problem, I think, is that I don't have a warm audience to my stuff. You should be surveying them and seeing what they want and use that to build your offer. I do not have nearly the same conversion problem with my Story Hacker communities in this channel as I do with this fiction thing so far. And I think that's because you guys have warmed up to me a little bit more and I'm solving problems for you. But it's also a completely different situation. Like, fiction is a completely different business model than anything nonfiction. And what works for nonfiction doesn't always work for fiction, as I am learning. So once I have a warmer audience, I will definitely start surveying people. I might also run ads where each ad will say something the equivalent of like, would you like XYZ? And then each ad will have a different thing, and I'll just see what the click-through rate of those ads are, and through that determine like, oh, this seems to be more popular. But I don't know if I want to do that right now with these changes I'm making. So we'll see. This person says, if I were to offer any advice, it would be to run the following prompt on the AI of your choice. Please provide me a summary of Slow Productivity and its key principles by Cal Newport. When I listen to you, I get the feeling that you are trying to do everything everywhere all at once, and I worry you will burn out. I appreciate your concern. I have actually read Slow Productivity by Cal Newport. I love everything Cal Newport puts out. I read it religiously. He is great. In the case of Slow Productivity, I think much of that is really intended more for people who are further along in their career, because I don't think it applies as well to people who are just beginning. I think when you're beginning, you need to hustle. When you're like, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you need to be hustling until you find your rhythm and what works, because volume is the most it's the most likely indicator. It's the most correlated indicator of success as you're putting out volume. I don't know if you're familiar with the parable of the pots, but it's basically you have a guy teaching pottery, and he divides the class into two groups. And to one group, he says, your job is to make one perfect pot by the end of the semester. To the other group, he says, you just guys make just as many pots as you can by the end of the semester. And by the end of the semester, the people that were just putting out the most pots were not only had way more pots, but the pots that they were making towards the end were just as good as the single perfect pot that the other side was supposed to do. Because not only do you put out more, but you learn faster. And that's kind of what I'm going for with this. But I do appreciate the concern about trying to do everything everywhere all at once. And I am not ignorant of the fact that I am doing a lot right now. The difference is that I am paying close attention to what is working and what is not. And I am ruthlessly cutting the things that are not working. As you saw with like the fact that I'm not doing that mythology channel anymore. And because of that, it evens out over time. So that's just been my experience so far. I do appreciate the concern, but it's not going to be this way all the time. And also, I found that being this focused and trying to put out this amount of work has actually forced me to be far more economical with my time. And actually, I found that I am just about the same in terms of how busy I am now as to where I was before I started this goal. The only difference is I cut out a lot of stuff when I started this goal. I found that I was filling my time before with a lot of busy work that wasn't pushing the needle. And so I think it's good to have ambitious goals like this because it acts not only as, I mean, you're not only going to see a lot of progress rapidly, but you're also going to cut out a lot of stuff that doesn't actually matter. All right, now this person gave me some fantastic advice. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but this person had clearly knows my content and actually gone and looked at my my lore channel and everything, and gave me some fantastic advice. And I said as much in my response. To sum this up, basically, some of the advice that I found very good here is to have kind of a funnel with my channels. He suggested having a separate channel that was all about the lore of my own stuff. And I don't think I'm going to do it as a separate channel, but I might do like one video a week that's about the lore of my stuff, which it's not going to do as well as the lore of these other fantasy works, but it should expose some of the subscribers and people that have watched multiples of my videos to learn a little bit more about my world. I've also I think this person mentions it, but I've also gone with the idea of having a free offer to these people so that they can sample my work without any monetary risk involved. But yeah, whoever you are, E. Rolden, I don't know if you're in my community somewhere. I think you probably are, judging by what you got here. Your advice was very much appreciated, and I do appreciate everything. Now, this one I didn't quite get. This person, Amanda Waller, 3479. I don't understand why you're so dead set on ignoring every common established process for building a fan base, which is what you need to get recurring revenue. So I understand what this person is saying, and they're right. Like I realized that I need to develop the fan base first and kind of go more traditional routes. That's true. However, I would not say I have ever been dead set on ignoring any common established process. Like I have been giving away free stories and chapters. Post some serialized fiction on Ream or your own website. Yeah, that I've done that in the past. That does not work. I can test it again, but I am not anticipating that it'll work. Set up a website under your actual name or the name of your world. Yeah, I have done that. Sell some merch. I've done that. Post some videos about the lore of your world, not fantasy lore in general. I will do that. The problem there is that nobody's going to look at the stuff of my, nobody's going to care about the lore of my, like I'm building an audience here. And then once the audience is there, then I can start talking about the world of my own. Do a Kickstarter on your next novel, etc. Yeah, I hate Kickstarters. That is one that I am sort of dead set on ignoring, at least for now. I will probably test it out in the future because I know people want to know about it. But I'm a slow and steady type of marketer person, and I love content marketing. It's my favorite type because it is a slow and steady thing. The nice thing about YouTube, you guys, is it's marketing that's very effective, and you get paid to do it. It's the only type of marketing that'll do that for you. I don't know why more people aren't doing it. Well, I do. It's because it takes a lot of work. It seems like you want the monetary benefits of an active, engaged community, loyal fan base without doing the work it takes to build one. I just gotta say, like, I just don't agree. Like, I am absolutely willing to do the work it takes to build one. I'm just figuring out what works. And I've learned quite a bit since I started. So we are going back to basics. We are going to try all of those things, but we'll see. This person asks, how are you doing your audiobooks? I'm getting human narrators for most of them. AI narration just is not enough for me. I don't like it myself. I don't like to read or listen to other audiobooks that have been digitally narrated. So I don't, even though they're getting quite good these days and it's better than nothing, I just don't think it's there yet. All right, this person had a misunderstanding. Showing ads to just 43 people in your school won't work. It's a very small sample of people. You need to show the ads or your book to at least 10,000 people to find out whether the ads of your book is working or not. Yeah, so I was not showing it to 43 people. I don't know where this person got that idea. My sample size, you start as broad as you can when you start doing ads, and then let it figure out the data. We did stop the ads that were going because we spent $150 with no results whatsoever. I started doing some direct sales earlier this week, and that was showing a much more promise. Although I'm not going to be doing that in the future because I'm now pivoting to go more Amazon first for now. All right, this person says, thank you, Jason, for being so transparent about your process. That can be very insightful. Yeah, no problem. This person says, subscription models are profitable only if the content given in them is famous. In this case, your books. People in general won't buy a monthly subscription if they're not interested in your books. I think that is true, and that's why I'm making the decisions that I am. Just cheering you on from the sidelines, Jason. Thank you, Plumstone. I am cheering you on as well. All right, and that pretty much wraps it up for today. So if you have any questions or comments or armchair, there's a lot of armchair experts giving advice. I'm open to all of it. And I'm correcting the mistake of trying to break the rules before trying to master them. So now I'm going into the process of mastering them by looking at what the successful people are doing and just modeling what they do. So that is my final bit of advice to you. And I will see you in the next video.